Nos especializamos en brindar educación del idioma inglés de primer nivel con un enfoque en cursos de crédito, finanzas, logística, industria, derecho y comercio internacional. Nuestro enfoque es simple: ofrecemos clases individuales con hablantes nativos con experiencia en sus respectivos campos. Ya sea que desee mejorar su visión financiera, navegar por las complejidades del comercio internacional o perfeccionar su acento americano. Y aquí está la mejor parte: puedes unirte a nosotros desde cualquier lugar. Nuestras clases se pueden tomar cómodamente en línea o aún en formato híbrido en Monterrey o Saltillo, haciéndolas accesibles para estudiantes ambiciosos como usted, sin importar dónde se encuentre. Pero eso no es todo. Creemos en aprender mientras nos divertimos. Con eventos de cenas de networking. Aquí puede conocer a Filip y Alicia, nuestro dúo dinámico, mientras desmitifican palabras legales y financieras que muchas veces se traducen en error, comúnmente erróneas en debates interesantes.
Hi everyone.
Morning, Alicia.
Morning. Today we wanted to take this opportunity to talk about a few false cognates that we hear kind of often.
Yeah, and we've selected 4 that are usually together because they're legal and financial ideas.
Yeah, for example, the word actual
and present.
Present. Yes, wherein people in Spanish will say mi trabajo actual means my current job.
Right. Now, in English, if you say my actual job is something like, well, I'm an accountant by day and a magician or entertainer by night, but my actual job is an accountant. Actual means in reality. Present means at the current time. Present or current we could use, yeah.
That's right.
And this contracts. We were reviewing a contract template in a class the other day, and just in Spanish, it says ambas partes celebraron el contrato, which celebrar a contract, celebrate a contract.
Which is funny, because in English we have parties.
Yes, party, P-A-R-T-Y. Party, first party, second party. Mm-hmm. So students say, well, how come there are parties in a contract that's being celebrated? See, it's the same thing. So, and again, in English, we have parties entering into an agreement or a contract.
Yes, and another one is, I think, the credit.
Yes, and unfortunately, retail bankers sometimes in both languages confuse a line of credit or línea de crédito, a tarjeta de crédito, or a credit card, which sometimes anybody with a heartbeat can get, versus a letter of contract is usually used for a documentary purchase where both parties, banks, get involved to streamline the sale or the transaction. But usually with a high risk or a new customer or in a part of the world that's risky, as currency risk or something. And why don't we have a meeting.
To discuss, okay.
An example of these 4, actually, no, you found a fifth, these 5 cognates which aren't exactly the same.
Sounds good.
All right.
Good morning, John. Some good news. Some of the major points of disagreement and argument with our current supplier have been the payment terms and the quality of their parts. I've been thinking, maybe we should consider a new supplier and involving our banks to ensure a smoother payment process. We could open a letter of credit to handle the financial aspect.
That's a good idea, Lorena. It would actually give us more control over the payments and also provide some assurance to our new provider. But, can you remind me about the difference between a credit card, a line of credit, and a documentary letter of credit? I want to make sure we're on the same page. So they are not actually the same thing?
Oh no, John. A credit card is a payment method where we use a card issued by a bank to make purchases, and we billed monthly. A line of credit is a predefined amount of money that our bank lends us, and we can borrow against it as needed, closed or revolving with interest applied to the amount borrowed. Our present usage of the line is at 60%. A documentary letter of credit, on the other hand, is a financial instrument used in international trade. It's actually a guarantee from our bank to the seller that we will make the payment once certain conditions are met, such as delivery of goods. And discussing the Incoterms avoids many arguments later.
Thanks for clarifying that, Lorena. A documentary letter of credit seems like the best option in our case, given that we want both delivery and payment to be partially in the hands of our respective banks. This is sure to avoid any arguments on major points or unneeded discussions about minor details. So this way both parties to the contract are protected, paid and happy. That makes 4 or 5 parties involved in the transaction. Now entering into this kind of contract is something to have 2 parties celebrate. Just using my Spanish to make a joke, sorry.
Ha ha. Funny. Bilingual double meanings. Those Spanish classes at English for My Future are really paying off. John. It should give us the security we need while ensuring the provider gets paid promptly upon fulfilling their obligations. Now let's start the process with our banks and work on drafting and signing the new contract with these terms in mind. Yes, when the goods arrive, it's cause to celebrate that we entered into such a contract, having discussed everything in advance and avoided arguments later.
Agreed, I see no need to discuss it anymore. Nothing to argue about. Let's get started on that right away. And you know what? We should celebrate this milestone once everything is in place. It would be great if both parties in the contract could celebrate this new alliance. We will just have to notify our current suppliers that our contract with them is terminated, though they have actually been without a contract for 60 days.
Aprender con nosotros no se trata solo de libros de texto y conferencias, es un viaje interactivo y emocionante hacia su crecimiento profesional. También tiene la oportunidad de integrar un curso CE, equivalente a un diplomado en México, en su curso de inglés de negocios, y ganar un diploma de una institución americana en uno de 60 temas financieras y gerenciales. Entonces, ¿qué esperas? Invierta un momento en explorar todo lo que tenemos para ofrecer y rápidamente verá cómo English for My Future puede ser su pasaporte a un mundo de oportunidades. ¿Tiene preguntas o está listo para comenzar? No dude en comunicarse con nosotros a través de WhatsApp al +5218182572451 o envíenos un correo electrónico a englishformifuture@gmail.com.